What's good, YouTube? You know who it is. It's your boy, Neon Diamond 101, and back again talking about How to Get Away with Murder. I want to talk about my final thoughts in a rant I have because I love this show, you love this show, that's why you're watching this video. So let's just get on into this. So, Season 1, first, let me back up. So, when they first started showing commercials and promos, I'm like, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'd heard of Scandal and Grey's Anatomy, and I'd never watched on the show ever in my life before. And I'm like, you know what? I want to watch the show. It looks compelling. Let me watch How to Get Away with Murder. And instantly, the first scene, when they're in the woods, they're panicking. Just these four students, and they flip the coin. And then we go to present time where Wes is on the bike, and we go through all this, wait list. And then we have the classic, pretty much the iconic scene where she's like, "Welcome to Criminal Law 101," or as I like to call it, "How to Get Away with Murder." And they show the chalkboard, blah blah. She's looking at the students like she's about to kill them with her eyes, and everything just like pulled me in immediately. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch the show. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I enjoy the show is because not because of the drama or like the characters, but just like the mystery. Like there's there's there are some stories that have a way of telling stories that you want to know more. Kind of like reading a book, like you keep turning the page. This show, I want to know everything from the A plot, B plot, C plot, every little thing. Like I enjoy every part, and the show is well crafted. And Sean Rhimes, Peter Nowak, everyone involved, from the editors to the writers to the cameramen, everyone, the actors, everyone involved in the show, brilliant. So there has been a theme, and there's been kind of like an overarching question every season. And season one, the first half is who killed Sam. At the end of the pilot, we see Sam dead, and we're like, oh crap, how does this happen? We find that out. The second half of season one, it's like who killed Lila, and we're back and forth. Was it Rebecca? What was it? Sam himself? And we find out it's Frank, and we're like, what the hell? So we're like, why did Frank kill him? And it worked because we had known Frank throughout the season, and we had gotten to know him. Some people really enjoyed him, some people not. Obviously, the thing with him and Laurel, obviously. And so season two happens, and obviously the flashbacks are, or rather, the flash forward, sorry, is who shot Annalise. And episode 9 of season 2, probably one of the best episodes of the series and like history. Like the performance from Carlos Souza, Alfred Enoch, and of course Viola Davis, just it was all brilliant. So we have that dramatic scene where Wes kills Annalise, but not only that, we have the flashback. Well, actually, she says Kristoff, and we're like, "Who the fuck is Kristoff?" And then we see the flashback of him, long ago, and she's with Eve, and he's talking about, his mother being dead, and we're like, "Oh crap!" So not only do we find out Wes shot Annalise, sorry, he shot Annalise. We find this huge thing that she knew him way before. So we're like, oh crap, like what is going on? So the second half of season two, there really wasn't an overarching question. Obviously, in the background, who did the Hapstalls kill their parents, Caleb and Catherine? Also, they threw Philip for a loop to make us think it was Philip because he's kind of creepy. He had the whole tech thing, and he obviously came to see Oliver, so that was kind of scary. But the overarching part of the second half of season two is pretty much West and Annalise's backstory. That was huge. We're like, who is Kristoff and who he was before, his mom, his life beforehand, and also we get the Mahonies. So this is kind of like our first big bad. Before this happened, obviously they were involved with crimes and stuff like that. But we really find out the quote unquote big bad, which is the Mahonies, which is this powerful family, and pretty much who Wes's mom worked for. And so we know that they're bad people, and we find out that Annalise, obviously, she was pregnant. The Mahonies are responsible for her child's death. Not only that, finally, we find out the relationship between Frank and Sam. We get a lot of references from season one. Also, we had Levi come back for Rebecca, and just the intertwining between season one and season two were perfect. Everything was going great. I was glued to the screen. You were glued to the screen. Like everything was just perfect, and we got to know a lot of information. And even though the half stalls really wasn't like the main part of the story, like finding out that Caleb did it, and all the stuff that happened was just intriguing. The thing where Philip tries to. They make it seem like he attacked Annalise, but he was actually saying, you know, I tracked Caleb with this tracking device. He was where the parents were killed. Caleb killed my parents, and so that was all well done. So they season three, really good, really good. The beginning, they trick us, they make us seem like the gurney is Walter Mahoney, but at the end, it's Annalise at her house and someone is dead, and we're like, what the heck happened? So someone important is dead. We know it's not a minor character. Someone is under the sheet, and they pretty much said, promo or something on commercials like every episode we're gonna find out who is alive, and we see that we had seen Wes in the station. And we're like, okay, Wes is safe, but we kind of find out that Wes is dead. And me personally, I thought that was a huge, foolery twist or hoodwinked, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was clever. I wasn't mad at it because I believed Wes was. I just love the trickery. The writers are very smart. They know what they're doing, and up until this point, they had not failed. Now, I just want to note that one part of lazy writing that I did not find interesting or I kind of found annoying was the fact that obviously the first half of the season we're trying to find out who is dead, and also Frank is pretty much gone rogue. Is it Frank because he's kind of like into this like rebellion phase? So we're like, okay, is Frank this evil guy, or like what's going on? And so the fact that Frank talked to Wes and then he left and then came back to kill Walter Mahoney, I thought that was kind of like lazy. Like how is Frank gonna come and then oh, all right, see you later, and then he just shoots him? Like, I thought that was kind of lazy. I thought it was gonna be someone else, but whatever. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. It did bother me, but not that big of a deal. So we find out that Wes is dead. Dr. Bradfield, obviously, she's about to say something when she's talking to Nate, and then we do the little time jump. Actually, the time flashbacks where and then we go back to the station with Wes, and then we don't know exactly how he died because they're just doing the autopsy. So honestly, after I watched that episode, I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around it, because it was one thing to have a character die, but it was one thing to have Wes die, and we had no clue why he died, who did it. So I was like really thinking about it, like I was really like, crap, like what happened? So season 3 part 2 happens, and I'm hooked. And honestly, there was a point in time where I'm like, I need to stop watching these episodes, because I feel like I'm on the case. Like, I'm so invested in the show right now, like who killed Wes, and I just couldn't. Also, the thing that season 3 part 2 did really well is after the winter break, everyone was paranoid, everyone was a suspect, and we're like, what the heck is going on? So, Frank, Bonnie, Laurel, acted shady, Maggie, everyone was a suspect, and we're like, who killed Wes? This is going to be huge. This is going to take the show to another level, because beforehand, sorry, I'm talking way too fast. Beforehand, I'm so excited. Beforehand, we had not lost a Keating student. So the fact that we lost Wes was really big, and I'm like, wow, like this is going to change the show. Like, someone is targeting our crew, and this is, first time one of the people we care about is gone. Like, he's dead. He doesn't have a twin. He is dead. And so what I really found interesting is that every episode I'm like, who did it? Who is it? Is it Laurel? Is it Frank? And yes, I thought Laurel did it. Crazy prediction. Yes, her dad did it, so maybe I knew somehow. Not really. That's stupid. Anyway, so I just loved watching, because every little thing I was like, what is going on? Obviously the twist with Atwood and Denver, I was like, okay, this is cover up. What's going on? And then they show the reveal. Episode 14 was actually amazing. Episode 15 was amazing. There's just one thing that I have a problem with, and I'm sure you know what. Is the reveal. Dominic. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? The promos, every commercial, every episode. Who killed Wes in 2 weeks? Next week. This episode, you're gonna finally find out who killed Wes. Like, that was That was a big question. That was a huge question. That was the biggest question we've had. Who killed Sam? Who killed Lala? Who shot Annalise? That was the biggest question we've had in How to Get Away with Murder. And what do? They have Dominic, a character that we just met. Like literally, we had not seen him prior to 14 and 15, or if it was just 15. I don't know, but we just met him. So what? And then the fact that they have Laurel's dad. Are you sure? As long as he's dead or whatever he said, you know, I just don't get it. And I really trusted the writers. I really did. But the fact that they had Dominic kill Wes, brutal scene. The syringe. Wes fights back. Wes wasn't going out like a little bitch. He fought him. The bottle. I personally thought like, okay, like he knocked him out. Nope. Wes is going to the door. Dominic gets back up. I'm like, okay, great. He's gonna kill him. So he kills him. Brutal scene. Sad scene. But I wasn't connected because you know what? This is one of my biggest issues, and I want to talk about the next point in my video is the writing style of How to Go with Murder. Is that Peter Nowak has stated that he has, or I don't know, someone say, but he has this writing style where he does something, but he's not sure the outcome or like the reason. Kind of like who's under the sheet. He knew someone was dead, but he didn't know exactly who it was for a while. And compared to a more structured style, okay, there's more structured where you know exactly what's going to happen before you write the season, or you have Peter Nowak style where you do something but you're not really sure. And both styles have their pros and cons. Obviously, structure style, if you structure it out, it's kind of hard to change things. But for Peter Nowak, anyone can be the suspect, anyone can be the victim, but unless you execute it perfectly, then it might falter. And up until this very point, like literally the season 1, season 2, and 99.9% season 3 was flawless. The West reveal under the gurney, under the sheet was flawless. But Dominic killing Wes, the emotional connection, I felt like what? I was more confused than like, oh my gosh, Wes. I'm like, who is this guy? Why is he killing him? And then like, if it was Oliver, I would have been like, my jaw would have been to the floor. Like I would have been so shocked, and I actually thought it was gonna be Oliver because here's my thing. Out of every suspect, Michaela was shady when Asher tried to confront Connor. Laurel was shady because she was withholding information. I just thought, something's not right with Laurel. I'm not really sure if I trust her. Obviously, Maggie was a suspect, but I'm like, they're not gonna have Maggie kill him. Sorry. And then there was Oliver, who is behind the scenes. He's a tech guy, and he was defending Connor like Connor didn't do this, you guys. Connor this, Connor that. Oliver was acting so shady. Think about it. Oliver had the power. He had control. He knew a lot of things, and he acted like very sketchy, like very nervous all the time. He had the phone backup, which ironically enough saved them all because if they didn't have it, like they wouldn't have had the voicemail. I don't believe because Annalise's phone was wiped and he had the backup. Annalise liked him. Also, that was very interesting. Annalise, I know we don't really talk about this, but Annalise and Connor had a very interesting relationship because it seemed like Annalise really liked Oliver. Like she, when she went to speak with him and she said, "I really appreciate it," and obviously Oliver really wanted to work for her in the beginning of the season, and Connor said, don't let him, and then obviously Annalise lets Oliver work for her. To kind of keep him in the circle, to kind of keep an eye on him. But that would have been, I honestly think, obviously the writers had everyone as a suspect. That's their writing style. That's Peter Nowak's writing style. But I truly believe that Oliver was prime suspect because the way the final 2 episodes were going, Oliver was just way too emotional, way too outspoken, and then the final part where he asked Connor to marry him, that would have been perfect because if he had killed Wes, like no one else would have known, and he would have tried to like run away with Connor. Like I don't know But yeah, the outcome is that we get the reveal that Laurel's dad has killed Wes. Now I know there's a lot of speculation. Oh, he wanted to kill Laurel's man. He wanted to kill Frank. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm not trying to insult anyone. Like, seriously. And I blame the writers because the writers have dumbed us down to the fact that we're speculating that, oh, he must have killed Wes because he's black. Oh, he must have killed Wes because he thought he was, he was trying to kill her man, which he thought was Frank, but it was Wes. Like, no! Like, literally, if they go that route, I don't know what else to say. And to everyone who is boycotting season 4, come on. Come on. Hey, I'm upset like you are, but come on. You've been through 3 seasons. There is no reason to boycott now. Come on. There's still many more seasons to go. I'm not really sure how long they want to go with this, but don't jump ship. I know you're upset, but in the season, the reveal was lackluster. Was just ridiculous, but it was a good episode. That's the only thing. Like the last part with Annalise, like kind of like revealing to herself, like Wes was my son, even though he wasn't blood, like my real son, like he was my son. Because before she was saying, I'm not really sure how I feel about this, and kind of Annalise was like really calm, and we're kind of like wondering like why is she not crying all the time, but she really like confesses to herself that Wes is my son. And if by some bizarre way that he actually is her son, that'd be kind of weird. But one thing I want to note is I really enjoyed the conversation between Sylvia Mahoney and her. Is that Sylvia said, obviously Charles is actually Wes's dad, and the fact that Sylvia Mahoney said there's so much she doesn't know. And I think that Sylvia Mahoney was the emergency contact. Why was Wes contacting her? And usually they wrap these things up with like a little intrigue, but they just it just felt like weird. Like after I watched the finale, I'm like, okay, like episodes usually have me where I'm like stressed out, where I'm like thinking. I literally like sit down for like half an hour and like think like who did this, who did. But after the finale, I'm like, whatever. I'll be honest, I'm not really excited for season 4, but I'm gonna watch it obviously. But the whole reveal of Floral Dad just kind of like wah wah, and obviously I enjoyed the stuff with Denver. Atwood and Nate kind of like faltered. I mean, they never really wrapped up like why his body was whatever burned. Um, and so I just one thing I want to note is that this is the first time that they never really went back to like a time loop. Remember when Dr. Bradfield kind of says, the unofficial whatever, and then, she's about to say it, and then we go, we do the little time thing, and then we go back to Weston Station. They never went back to that time point where Dr. Bradfield is going to say her unofficial theory of why Wes died. And that's the first time where they never go back. Obviously, they had the house, the time jump with the house in the fire, Connor running, and then blah blah, Laurel going to the house. But they usually, whenever they have a time jump earlier, they always wrap it up. But they didn't wrap this one up, and I noticed that not a really huge issue, but I would have loved to have like heard why what Dr. Bradfield originally said, and maybe they cut it out. Maybe it was um, originally in there. But yeah, that's just my long theory of like, or just my overall thoughts. But yeah, I'm upset. I'm sure we are upset. But don't get me wrong, episode 14 and 15 were really good. I just wish that we had a better review. And it kind of felt like Wes died for nothing. Obviously, um, it's kind of the easy way out where they find the voicemail and he confesses to Sam and Rebecca. Um, I guess he forgot to include Sinclair. So maybe Dummer will come back with her, add her with that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I'm looking forward to season 4. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot more Laurel flashbacks. Obviously, we learned that she lied that her dad kidnapped her, but I just wish we had known more about her father because there's always tease about her father this, her father that, and I'm really excited because it's gonna be a huge. At least I hope that it's a huge reason, and that either Laurel's father and like the whole connection and the Mahonies have some beef, or the father and Annalise have some history. So, as you know, the writers do, they always do something for a reason. Even though they may not know. I mean, apparently Peter Nowak doesn't know why Laurel's dad killed Wes, but I'm sure they can figure something out and make it really well. But yeah, that's pretty much that. What do you guys think about the finale, season 3? Are you gonna watch season 4? I definitely am. I definitely think you guys should. Although the review was terrible, and here's the thing: I think because the writers are amazing, like every writer on the staff, from Peter Nowak to the other writers, are amazing, and they let us down like this from a show. I put that show on like a high pedestal. So the fact that they like the reveal was crazy, like not crazy at all. It was kind of like what? Like the reveal was like like what? Like more like a you know what is going on compared to like oh my gosh, like it was Connor, it was Laurel, it was Michaela. I didn't freak out when I saw Dominic kill Wes. As a matter of fact, although the scene was shot very well, I didn't feel any, connection. I was just like, what? So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Sorry this was kind of long. Thank you all so much for watching. What do you guys think about Season 3? Your theories, thoughts below. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace.